Welcome to Wednesday, August 3rd. Good to see you today. Today's reading will be Jeremiah chapters 21 through 23. Now, I know the reading as of late has, been a little bit of, to me, repetitive and maybe even sometimes hard to read. These three chapters are different. Pashur, from the previous chapters, tried to persecute Jeremiah. Now Zedekiah has a question and bypasses Pashur and goes straight to Jeremiah. I've seen this so many times. When people get in a bind and they need to hear the Word of God, it's funny that no matter what church they go to, they'll still seek out a Bible-believing pastor. Many times, people who go to church still will reach out to me and ask a question. They'll send me to people's doors to witness to their family. I'm glad it happens. But sometimes you want to ask, if your pastor can't handle that for you, why do you go to that church? But when things go down, we want to hear from God. Here we have Zedekiah approaching Jeremiah. Not a very good answer. Now, chapter 22 could be confusing if you don't remember a few things. First, remember that Josiah had three sons: Jehoiachin, Jehoiaz, and Zedekiah. Now Jehoiakim had a son, Jehoiachin. Now, it's interesting when we get to this portion of Jeremiah that now he's going to pronounce curses on Jehoiachin, calls him Coniah, and then tells him that no king from his bloodline will ever rule Israel. And now if you read Matthew chapter 1 and verse 11, it says, "And Josiah begot Jeconiah and his brethren about the time they were carried away to Babylon." So then it was Jeconiah, who is Jehoiachin. So he's still in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. But as we find there at the end of chapter 22, no child of his shall sit on the throne, nobody of his bloodline. So God curses Jehoiachin, so much so that here he refers to him as Coniah, taking off the J-E off his name because that means Jehovah, saying this guy has nothing to do with me, writing him childless even though he has children, and then having him in the bloodline of Jesus Christ. God gets around this by the genealogy of Mary found in Luke chapter 2. So that genealogy goes through Mary. So the title of king still passes through Jeconiah, down to Joseph, then to Jesus. Joseph still carries this curse. Mary doesn't, and yet that bloodline still continues from David to Mary, or to Jesus through Mary. The thing that kills me is when people claim that this book was written by a bunch of shepherds on a rock in some field somewhere. So if you remember back in our study back in Matthew chapter 1 years ago, Jehoiachin ends up being killed, and the kingship from Babylon ends up going over to Zedekiah. Just some interesting stuff. Let's also throw this in there. When they get carried back, remember that Zerubbabel is the governor. Now, it's interesting because both genealogies go down into Zerubbabel, but it's impossible for two bloodlines to meet in one man and leave through that man. So the title has to continue, and it does through adoption. This is such amazing stuff. But he's called a signet, and we don't know why until the New Testament. Stuff's mind-blowing. Now, Jeremiah 23 talks about the pastors of Israel. Now, remember, Israel doesn't have a New Testament church. We can use this to apply to pastors if you want, and I'm all for it. The things it says that pastors are doing then, some pastors are doing now. And you see all through here the things that they are errant in. God didn't call them, but they're still in the pastorate. But you see through here, through chapter 23, I think something that we're seeing a lot of now, just the lack of the Word of God being proclaimed in churches. That seemed to be the problem then. We run into people from churches all over the place, all the time, who don't know for sure they're going to heaven when they die. If you don't know that, what else is there to know? And then here you just see, there's really a hunger for the Word of God. All right. I hope you have a great day. Hope this has helped to you. I enjoyed these 3 chapters today, so that was a good thing. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday.